Hello and a very warm good evening to one and all the people of the house who are joining us on a very short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor and an absolute privilege to come over here and to talk to some of the most eminent and some of the most enthralling personalities of this very nation, from foreign nations as well. And today, ladies and gentlemen, if your motivation game has apparently gone down, we have the personality who will get your motivation game high in a very short period of time. And if you know her name, then kindly post her name into the chat box so I'll know that yes, you are also pretty much excited for this very event. Let me tell you that she is an IFS officer. Can you please post her name into the chat box along with one of these and be like, yo Sahas, this particular session is going to be absolutely motivating for all of us because our motivation game has gone down into this very lockdown tenure. But we are going to exactly, but you got her name a bit wrong. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk with her. We are going to know more about her life, and we're going to know about all the impeding questions that you people have in your mind to ask to how can you prepare, how can you get your grooves high and tied up. And I request the technical team of this particular event, that is Aashray, to kindly coordinate with madam and to ask her to kindly join us over here. Indeed, Madam Shivani Gupta, right? So you people are getting the vibe and you people know who that wonderful personality is, right? And you people also want to talk to her. And if you people want to talk to her, then kindly drop me one of these. And thank you so very much. I can see that some of the appreciation is coming off for me into the chat box. That is really very indeed kind of you. And ladies and gentlemen, all the people of the house, you people are also going to enjoy this particular session. Because even Aashray, I mean, yeah, indeed, because even I want to know about a lot of things. Even I have a lot of questions in my mind about how her life is in Taiwan. And ma'am has already said, gentlemen, the wait is finally over. The grooves are pretty much tied. The throttle is 100% pulled up, and we are going to absolutely enjoy this conversation. Madam Shivani Gupta. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am very wonderful, ma'am, and it's an absolute honor and an absolute privilege to talk to you, to come onto this platform. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of the entire Longley Professional University for talking to our students, for telling our students about your life and about how your life is over there and how you have coped up about all the things. Right? And ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the session, then kindly drop us one of these poster questions down into the chat box if you have certain questions. If they'll be relevant enough, we will pick up the questions as well. Right. So, how are you, first of all?
I am fine and thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Actually, I joined the session, but somehow probably I couldn't connect with you. So I was listening to the whole session since the very beginning. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. And it's
No
a
worries, ma'am.
privilege for me also to be here live with all the students and all the aspirants and all the youngsters and to be able to talk to you like on face to face. So I
Indeed,
am good,
ma'am.
and I hope you are also doing fine and you are safe. We know
We are
how
doing
situation is in India right now.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed, we are very safe, and we are very honored and happy and very prominent to talk to personalities like you who are inspiring our students. Nevertheless, of this coronavirus handicap, you're talking to our students, letting our students know that no, this coronavirus pandemic is nothing but it's just a shortcoming, and we will take care of it. And one day we'll tell the world that this very nation, India, is certainly coming up. But nevertheless and nonetheless, ma'am, my first question I always ask everyone, any artist as well, or any other personality, how has the lockdown been for you?
Uh, since I would like to tell you, I am in Taiwan since all this pandemic started and all, and everyone knows that how instrumental Taiwan has been in controlling the whole corona scenario. So Taiwan has around 500 cases in total. So for us, life is like as usual. We go out, we hang out with friends, and we just wear masks when we are in public places, but more or
Right,
less it's like pre-corona scenario for us. So I think
right,
we have been the luckiest one to be in Taiwan at this point of time. But
right.
yes, I feel bad that situation is deteriorating in India, and cases have been rising every day. So I would like to start with the request that please wear masks. Everyone who is listening to this session, please wear masks. Uh, and just keep yourself safe from external environment.
Indeed, ma'am, most certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very next episode 9 of Women Speak. And as you already know her, I don't need to introduce her because she is the apostle of inspiration to a lot of women, to a lot of men, and I should say the 1.38 billion people that are living in the country, in this very nation. She is an inspiration to all those people as well. And I'd like to thank Aashray, Army, and I'd like to congratulate Aashray as well, and Aniket especially, who has made this very event possible, who has coordinated with ma'am, and it indeed has been an honor and a privilege. Right. And now talking about a lot of things, ma'am. So I just ask you, that there's a stereotype for UPSC aspirants that, you have to become very, very studious. You have to be very, very studious. So is this becoming very, very studious, becoming a prodigious student in the school, just a basic stereotype, or an average student as well can clear the UPSC yardstick?
I would like to tell that it's definitely a stereotype that you have to be a topper throughout the school, or you have to have a very good educational background to crack UPSC exam. It's not at all the basic requirement for UPSC exam, because I feel it's not the exam of knowledge of the depth of a topic. You just need to know some topics and you need to express those topics, which is the
Right.
foremost requirement of this examination. So even if you have been an average student throughout your life and you work hard for that duration of 1 year, you can clearly crack this examination. And there have been so many of my batchmates who have told stories about how they were so average. They would even on the verge of flunking their subject examination or graduation examination, and they have cleared UPSC with such flying colors that you feel so motivated them.
Right.
So please don't bear these stereotypes in your minds that it's an examination of your past educational qualification. You can
Right.
definitely clear this exam even if you have been an average student. And your educational background doesn't matter as much your current perseverance and hard work and consistency to prepare for this exam
Right.
matter. So
Right.
that is definitely a stereotype.
Right. All right. So the stereotype has apparently been broken down by Shivani Gupta, ma'am. But nevertheless and nonetheless, ma'am, were you precisely the top of your class throughout your journey of being a student?
That's a tricky question. I was not the topper of my class till 10th standard. My best friend was always the topper. So she would
Uh-huh.
all time top the class. I was among top five, but never the topper. But yes, after I opted for commerce stream in plus one and plus two, I was
Okay.
consistently the topper for 2 years. So, but
Oh,
that has
wow.
nothing to do with my UPSC journey. It really has nothing to do with my UPSC journey. I have also been that kind of a student who was like lazy, who would not want to study. And I would, since we are at the topic, I would like to tell you, right before one day of my mains examination, it was my optional examination. And I was so frustrated with the exam and so frustrated with all the studies that I had been doing. I started watching Game of Thrones the very previous for my main examination. I watched 2 episodes and then I was fine. Like, I live in a normal world. So please, these are all stereotypes that you have to be a topper and you have to study hard all the time. You can be a normal person. You can be one of those who like to pursue their hobbies and travel, and you can still clear UPSC examination. So there is not much of a correlation between two.
Right, ma'am. Wonderful, and most certainly. So, ma'am, but when you were student during your schooling days and your college days, I mean, did you have any other ambitions as well that this is what I want to become in my life? Now, as you have told, that plus one, plus two commerce. So, did you want to become some businessman or an entrepreneur or something like that? Or you always want to become an IFS officer? What were your goals and ambitions, ma'am?
Actually, my foremost goal was always to become a chartered accountant because
Okay,
I always, even like other youngsters and students, I also had that stereotype in mind that one
right,
cannot clear UPSC in the first attempt or one cannot clear UPSC easily. So I always
right,
thought of becoming a chartered accountant because I also come from a business family. So I thought
right.
that it will help my family and myself if I get into accountancy field. So that was my dream. Clearing UPSC was never on the top of my list. I always
Okay,
wanted to become a chartered accountant and I cleared my chartered accountant examination in 2015. And after
right.
that, I thought that I am never going to study because I was just so fed up of studying for CA examination that I
Right.
decided I'm never going to touch any textbook ever again in my life until I started working for a private organization and I realized that no, I cannot end up in a private organization and I want to pursue something related to government. So my first ambition was to become a chartered accountant, not to
Okay.
become a S officer or to serve for government.
Right. Right. So, ma'am, when did you think that, I have to clear this UPSC and become an IFS officer?
Actually, I cleared my CA examination in 2015, and then
Okay.
I joined a private organization, and I was in a very good department with a decent salary and good environment, like 9 to 6 job. It was an ideal job, but 6 months into the job, I realized that I'm not satisfied where I was. Like I was feeling as if I'm not using my full potential into something that I really want to do. So I shared this with my mama ji and my mother, and they
Okay.
pushed me that I should try for UPSC at least once. But I was
Okay.
not ready to take this step. But then after again 6 months, I was completely irritated by my private and I decided to go for UPSC. At least I wanted to give it one shot so that after 10 years or 15 years, I should not regret not attempting
Yeah.
when I had time. So that was the time when I realized that I don't want to end up in a private organization. That I joined civil services preparations, and as
Right.
destined, I was able to clear it. So now here I am. So yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Here you are with a lot of inspiration to a lot of people who are watching this video. And I'm pretty sure that the students across the country, across the world, who are here who just want to achieve something in their life, but they're behind the stereotypical barriers that probably I don't or I can't achieve this in my life because of this very barrier that when people think about UPSC, they're like they don't even want to work hard when they've already thought about UPSC. But people, she is right in front of you, and she is the perfect example, a quintessential exemplar, perhaps I should say, of what you want to achieve. And if you want to achieve that thing in your life, you can achieve that thing in your life. Wonderful, ma'am. Now, ma'am, now talking about some professional terminologies, what is the difference between being a bureaucrat and being a diplomat?
I would say essentially a diplomat is a bureaucrat only.
Yes.
Bureaucracy would involve a larger horizon of service, like you deal directly with government and you work very closely with government. Diplomacy is a part of overall bureaucracy. Like I would tell you two essentials that I have learned in past 2 years as a diplomat. being a diplomat, sometimes you have to say a lot without diverging a single piece of information. Like I can talk to you for hours, but I still do not give you a single piece of information. And
Yeah.
on the contrary, you do not speak a single word. Still, I say a lot of information to you. So these are the two tactics that you have to you have to master when you are a
Uh,
diplomat. I can tell you more about diplomacy. It's like a more specialized set of traits that one possesses. You have to assess the situation you are in. You have to assess the mindset of the person that you are dealing with. Since when you are working within India, you still know the culture, you still know the mindset of the person. But when you are working across the boundaries of a nation, different nations have different culture. Staying silent in India could mean something, but staying silent in Taiwan could mean something altogether different. So, you have to know the people, you have to know the culture and their mindset, and accordingly react, and you have to keep your national interest in, your mind. So, that is what diplomacy is all about. So, I would say that bureaucracy and diplomacy both deal directly with government. They assist in policy making decisions. But when
okay.
you are a diplomat, you have to have knowledge of different cultures and working around different set of people and environment, where you are able to assess their mindset, judge the situation, and put your best foot forward. So that is what
Right.
I feel about it.
Right. That's actually pretty much intriguing and very, very interesting. When you said that, I won't even say a word, but I'll already say a lot of information, and perhaps I can go the vice versa way around as well. And
Yes, yeah.
so there's a lot of responsibility, not just the job responsibility, but even what you say, right, ma'am? Right, ma'am. Now, ma'am, when you are living in a foreign nation, so what all responsibilities do you have when you are living in that nation and representing some other nation as well?
So when we are living in a foreign nation, everything that concerns India and its relationship with that nation, that comes under our responsibility. It involves networking with the localites, networking with the diplomats of that country, and diplomats from other countries who are staying in that country. Then it involves a lot of dealing with Indians. Recently, you saw Vande Bharat mission. So my batchmates were a very important part of Vande Bharat mission. They were instrumental in arranging for the flights, dealing with people, attending their calls, and arranging for all the logistics for people to safely go back to India or come from India. A lot of visa and consular services. If an Indian is having medical problems, we are the first point of contact. Embassy is the first point of contact for any Indian who is working abroad. Apart from that, we have to attend the meetings, like if Prime Minister or any high level officials, dignitaries, they are coming to the foreign country where we are posted. We have to take care right from their landing to their again going back to India. Everything has to be taken care of by us. And then if there are any trade negotiations, any cultural promotion, spreading Indian culture in foreign, which might include food, tourism, travel, everything. We have to take care of that. And also, since we are living in foreign countries, so for the people who are in India and who are not experiencing what is exactly happening in the foreign country where we are posted, we are the information, we are the people who will be telling about the information. I am here. If you ask me about the COVID scenario in Thailand, I would be the person telling you about the information or the ground level scenario about how is it happening in Thailand. If someone is posted in America and there are certain visa related issues or what is happening on ground, that person would be the point of contact for you and authentic point of contact, since we are directly working with government. So these are our responsibilities. Everything that facilitates Indian interest in a foreign country is our responsibility.
So, ma'am, precisely what you mean over here is that you are actually acting as a bridge and covering the gap between two nations.
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
India, Taiwan. So you are making that bridge between both of those nations.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Right, ma'am. Ma'am, now talking about your daily life, right? How does your daily life go about? And I mean, what's the daily routine that you follow over there? And how different is it to the people who live your normal government job? What is it, ma'am? Can you please tell us?
Uh, so, uh, so every day in government service is different. Like
Right.
I cannot plan my day ahead, and I cannot expect it to go as I had expected it. So generally, the major part of my day is about learning my language well. I am learning Chinese, so I would
Okay.
attend classes. I would go to college and interact with my teachers and other students who are around. So most of the day go into that, but apart from that, we have certain obligations towards official work as well. We are involved in news reporting and other works, translations of newspaper, and any other assignment that might come our way, or if a delegation is visiting here, or if there are some trade negotiations, meetings, dinners. So it's generally revolving around that. So I cannot tell you how my how every day looks like, because it's completely different. Today I might be having a discussion with you. Tomorrow I might be having a discussion with some dignitary who is a cultural commercial representative from India. So it's absolutely different that way.
Right, ma'am. So now that you're learning Mandarin, Chinese, so are you even learning to write it or you're
Yeah,
just learning to speak?
that is the painful part of it. Speaking is still fine. Listening, I can listen to Mandarin, like I can understand what they are saying. But writing is the painful part, because Hindi and English are completely different. When I send my Mandarin written sheets to my sister or my brother, they would say your drawing has improved because it looks more like a drawing or something.
Right, because it's completely different to how other languages are being written, right? Like when you're writing Spanish, probably, then you have that entire English alphabet which you can use, all those letters. Right, ma'am. So, by the way, do you have like cursive writing in it? Do you have to improve your writing whilst writing Mandarin, or it's simple?
No, our writing is still much better than the localites writing. If you read
Oh,
what like we say in India, that doctors have a very bad handwriting. So I can take that as a metaphor that their handwriting, I cannot, no matter how much I learn Chinese, I can learn it for 10 years, still I won't be able to understand what they have written. So it's
right.
completely
Right.
different and completely, arbitrary writing.
Ma'am, someone has posted the question that, ma'am, language is appointed to us or we choose it. I mean, the country that you're living in right now.
It's both ways. When you join IFS, so you have a batch rank according to your rank in UPSC. So every year there is a list of languages that will be allocated to the batch. So
Okay.
you are the batch topper. Of course, you have first choice in the. So you
Preference.
give your preference, but ministry allocates on the basis of your batch rank. So if you are rank 1 and if you have chosen Chinese as your language, you will be allocated. But let's say there are only 4 vacancies of Chinese and you are batch rank 8, and top 7 have already chosen Chinese. So you will not be getting it. You will get your second or third preference according to the availability of the language.
Right, ma'am. And I can see a lot of people who have been talking about Aashray organization. Yes, indeed, Aashray organization has worked really very hard, and we are very, very proud to host ma'am onto this most public platform. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to host ma'am on behalf of the entire lovely professional university and Aashray organization as well. Thank you so very much, Aashray, from the bottom of my heart. Now, ma'am, harking on to the next question. Now, which rules and regulations are you bound to follow? The country that you're living in or the national country where you have come from?
I would say we have to follow both rules. I'll give
Okay.
you an example. Uh,
Yeah.
we are in Taiwan and we have come from India. Now you know the traffic rules in India, how they are followed. Even if there is a red light, you can see so many people crossing it. No one cares about it. But
Yes, ma'am.
In Taiwan, if there is a red light, and even if the whole street is empty at 2 o'clock in the morning, when there is no traffic, no vehicle going, and there is a 90-second red light going on, people will still wait for 90 seconds, and only when the light has turned green, then they will cross the street. So when I am in Taiwan, I cannot cross the street, and I do not dare to cross the street like that. So I have to follow Taiwanese rules. But of course, when I come back to India, I'll become an Indian again. So I follow the basic rules. But yes, coming to the second part of the question, whether we follow Indian rules or not, of course,
Yes.
when we are in government service, there are a lot of written rules that we have to adhere to. So there are protocols that we have to follow. There are certain things that we are supposed to do, and there are certain things that we should restrain ourselves from doing. So we have to take care of them as well. So basically, we'll be following both of the rules.
So, ma'am, is it like that you have the IFS officers have their own set of rules? So,
Yes,
is it
yes.
like that?
Yeah. So we have certain protocols that we have to follow. So we
Okay, ma'am.
have to take care of them as well while we are dealing with outsiders and foreign dignitaries.
Right. All right, ma'am. Wonderful. Now, ma'am, just let's loosen ourselves up. And can you please narrate some, intriguing, inspiring, or whatever inspiration experiences you have had in Taiwan? Please, can you narrate some
Uh,
experiences, ma'am?
So it's been almost more than a year since I came to Taiwan, and it has been a roller coaster ride for me. Like initially, when I just came from Taiwan, India, I was very lonely because you come to stay in a batch of 40 people, 50 people when you are in training period, and then you come here all alone in a foreign country. You get some cultural shock. You are not able
Right.
to understand the language, so
Right,
it's
ma'am.
very difficult to adapt into that sort of an environment. But there were certain experiences. Like when I came to Taiwan and I would go on street and I would forget the path to my home back. So if I randomly ask any person on the street about the path that I'm supposed to take or about the map, there have been many cases when the person has actually walked me to my home, leaving their work,
Okay.
whatever they are doing. Like if I am at a point and my home is like 5 minutes from there, but still I'm not able to spot it on Google Map, the person will, take me to my home and then drop me there. So this has been the scenario, and the same happens in when you go to convenience store or supermarket. When you go there, so you are not able to understand because of the language constraints. Like if you want, I remember when I came to Taiwan, I wanted to buy milk. And since I could not understand Chinese at that point of time, I ended up buying 3 liter, like a big, whole big can of 3 liter of yogurt because I was not able to read it and I was not able to understand the difference between both. And when I came back and I tasted, I was like, what to do with 3 liters of yogurt and that too flavored. So that sort of experience, and funny experience would be like they have some peculiar choices, like different from India, I would say. In India, we are very much habitual of drinking tea. In Taiwan, and we drink hot tea, whether it is 45 degrees or it is 10 degrees in India. We prefer to drink hot tea. In Taiwan, they drink like cold tea. Hot tea is not that much preferred in Taiwan. If you go to a random shop and you ask them for a tea and you don't tell your preference, high chances that they will serve you cold tea. And likewise, I recently went to a convenience store to buy some dessert. And I bought some dessert and I spotted something like red color. I thought it is raisin, kishmish. I thought it is that. When I came home, it was actually bean, rajma. So they put rajma, dessert, which was very
Okay.
strange for me. So
Yeah.
there are certain things, and I'm a vegetarian. So once when I just came to Taiwan, I went to buy something vegetarian. So I went to a burger shop and I asked them to give me a vegetarian burger. They gave me a bun, and literally inside the bun there was some grass, literally, and there was nothing else. So for them, vegetarian doesn't include garlic or onion or something like that. But all in all, my overall experience in day one has been, it has been a very warm society. They welcome you, they help you out in every way that they can, and this is something that we can emulate and we can definitely learn from them. Like kindness is like inbuilt in the society, so that is one thing that we can learn.
So, ma'am, now are you used to the Taiwanese food?
Uh, I think Taiwanese vegetarian food, yes, but since I don't eat non-vegetarian, I do not taste most of the foods that they have. So, but yeah, I'm acquainted with Taiwanese food and culture and language now, so it's
Right,
fine.
ma'am. Or do you still cook like you still come to your house back once again and you cook rajma chawal?
Yeah, of course. I think any Indian can. So, Rajma Chawal reminds me of a recent
Yes,
discussion with
ma'am.
a class. I told her about this experience that I went to buy a dessert and
Right,
I
ma'am.
thought it was rising, but it was actually rajma. So and then I told her that in India we love rajma and it's a vegetable with spices and namak, mirch, garam masala. She was so surprised to listen to this. She said, "This is a dessert item. You cannot make spicy item out of a rajma or a kidney bean." So she was so
Right.
amused to listen to this thing. So I told her that I should probably invite you to my house sometime to taste how a Rajma Chawal thing tastes like.
Right, ma'am. Right. Uh, so, and now moving on towards your training, ma'am. I mean, how was the experience of the 3 months training that every IFS officer has to go through? And that training was through in like SLBSNAA, and your 6 month training. How was that as well, ma'am? In IFS. So can you please tell the students about that training period and how was that entire schedule of 3 months training and then that 6 months training, ma'am?
So when we clear our examination, like our results are out, first we are
Right,
supposed to go to Lal Bahadur Shastri, which is the IAS Academy. So
right,
all the services, all the 24 services and the candidates who have been able to clear the examination, they are called for a 3 months training to Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. And there is no distinction on the basis of rank or services. We all stay together. We become friends with all of the services.
right,
So the basic concept behind the 3 months training in Labasna is to for you to get acquainted with your batchmates from different services. Now I have friends from IAS, also IPS, IRS. So it's a very good medium to for people to get acquainted with people from different services. Now the
in the
training.
Basna.
Hmm?
In the Basna, you mean?
In Labasna, yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am, please.
they put stress that we should not differentiate on the basis of services and there should be no discrimination as
Okay.
such. Like you are IRS, I'm IS, that doesn't matter there. Even rank one would be as much chilled in Labasna as any other person. So there is no discrimination on the basis of service or rank. So training involves a lot of activities. The day starts with the morning PT, which is very painful. Missouri is a very cold place and you have to get out of bed at 6 a.m. in the morning, rush, have biometrics and go for PT run and
Right.
treks. But it involves lectures. So many dignitaries come to Labasna to deliver lectures, which is a surreal experience. It's a beautiful place, and I think it's the experience for a whole lifetime. Like you cannot forget those 3 months that you spend in Labasna. You go to Himalayan treks for 10 to 12 days. Then you go for village visits to different backward villages of India to understand the real India, like what problems we exactly face, starting from poverty to health issues to education and basic problems like water, food, hygiene. You get to have the first hand experience of all those problems when you go to such villages. And then there are calls on visits, like many dignitaries come and they deliver many lectures, and then there are other cultural activities also, then there are committees also, like mess committee. I was a part of mess committee in Labasna. So we were, we were to take care of the food that the whole batch was eating. So if any day food was not good or the menu was not good, we would be shouted at or we would be criticized thoroughly that you are not good at your work and all. There were
Right.
cultural committees, there were film committees. So
Okay.
it's an amazing experience to be in Labasna. There were flash mobs, there were everyday activities that we would attend. But uh, I would say the best thing that we took out of Labasna, apart from the memories and experiences, are the friends. Because you
Right.
bond so much staying in those hostels, staying together 24 by 7 with each other, that you just share a very special bond with your batchmates. And despite the fact that I'm staying in a foreign country for a very long period of time, I know when I go back to India, we can still connect on the same level. Like we can start from where we left. So, and I'm
Right.
still in touch with my batchmates from Labasna. So that is about Labasna, which involves a generic training of all the services together. Then we all move on to our respective academies, like IPS people will move to NTA, IPS people will stay back in Labasna, and we move to Sushma Swaraj Institute of Foreign Study, Foreign
Okay.
Service. And then at IFS, we have a 6 months training period where many eminent personalities would come to deliver lectures, previous ambassadors or current ambassadors like from US to India or Japan to India, they came for our sessions in Labasna. So you get to meet them, you get to understand their concepts, their ideas of, diplomacy. And then we had call-ons with like External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj ma'am was there. Then we had a call on Prime Minister, so we got to Prime Minister house and we got a chance to speak to directly to our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We went to Rashtrapati Bhavan and we got a chance to be with our president, and we had call-ons with foreign secretary and all those eminent personalities who you listen about or read about in newspaper. Apart
Right.
from that, we had many other attachments, which included mission attachment, like we went to foreign countries, and that was our first exposure to how exactly life in foreign missions are in embassies. Like I got a chance to go to Sri Lanka, so we after going to Sri Lanka, we realized what work exactly we will be doing once we are posted to foreign countries, and we experienced local Sri Lankan culture also. Then we had army attachment where I got a chance to go to Puri, and it was again surreal experience, like listening to actual firing from across the border. You see drones moving around, and then you go for ambush in the night, and you see how hard soldiers work to protect our nations. This is like first-hand experiences. We got to shoot AK-47, like one trial at AK-47 also, which was again amazing. And then we had other attachments like Bharat Darshan, where we got a chance to, travel around states and see the diversity of India. So we went to Andamans, Kolkata, Northeast, and we experienced a very different Indian culture there. So it's a very, it's a combination of so many factors that we experience once we are in training period. So I think those 9 months, 3 months of Labasna and 6 months of FSI, that was overall one of the most cherishable period of my overall. Like I can claim that even after 30 years, I will remember those memories very fondly when I was in Labasna or Sushma Swaraj Institute of Foreign Service.
Right. So, ma'am, you mean what imperative takeaway from this entire talk we are having right now is that these two training academies have been, serving a great purpose in how an officer is being formed and what it takes to become an officer after everything. There's a thing after, when you all people are over here and all the officers from all the backgrounds are over here, then the backgrounds really don't matter. You all become like one. You're just uniform and unanimous, if I'm right.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have raised a very good point here, since now that you have raised, I keep on getting a lot of questions from aspirants as to they are not very good in English, or they do not come from a very, classic background or very rich family, or from a city or something. Even I am from Kurukshetra, which is not a very, which is not
Yeah.
as developed as Delhi. So, and one thing, if I can clear it, anyone can clear it. I feel that way. And I don't think that one should be, concerned about where he comes from. You can be from a very humble background, still you can clear this exam with rank 1. So your background doesn't matter here. What matters is how much passionate you are about the preparation, and how much of effort and consistency you maintain while preparing for the examination. I'll tell you about my experience here. Even I had, like, when I was preparing, I started preparing for it very late. My exam was in June, and I started preparing in January. And I had no guidance, no mentor, and none of, like, my knowns or my seniors had been in the service before, who I could contact and get guidance from. What I did was, I just knew that I have only one attempt and I have to work hard towards it. And trust me, every third day, fourth day, I would feel like giving up. I would feel nahi ho raha hai, and I can't do it, and it's impossible to clear it. And even before my prelims examination, my examination was at 10 o'clock in the morning. 9:30, I felt as if I've forgotten everything that I had studied in past five and a half months. I remember calling my mom and telling her, "Mummy, मैं सब भूल गई हूँ. I'm not going to attend the paper itself." And she was like, "Don't be like that. It's always exam se pehle. You always have
Very
such
same,
scenarios.
yeah.
Go for it. And even if you're not able to clear it, there is nothing to lose. You did your best and just leave it at that." And after exam, during examination, it was still fine. Like, I could
Right.
recall what I had studied. So these, I think one has to steer clear of the negative thoughts and negativity that comes your way, and have a very positive attitude. Like, if you really work hard, you will get the outcome. Like, your background doesn't matter at all.
Right, ma'am. Indeed, ma'am. And you have very well pointed out one thing that's not important, or it's not imperative, or you should not be concerned about where you're coming from. We should be concerned about where you're actually going, or where will you actually go in your future. And I think that's been quite an inspirational message as well for a lot of students as well. And ma'am, a very quick question from someone. Us Morningstar, how many hours a day did you study for?
Like I told, I had started preparing for it very late. Like January I started, and June 17 was the examination. So I had like 5.5 months for it. So I had prepared a schedule for somewhere close to 12 to 13 hours every day.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Okay.
but I say this with a disclaimer that it's the strategy is different for everyone. Like, there were days when I just totally gave up, and for the whole day or 2 days I just did not study at all. I completely remember I was so fed up of studying in the middle of it, like somewhere around March or April, that I did not study anything for 2 days, and I was just watching horror movies. So, so it's completely your strategy. It completely depends on how some people are able to study for like 7 to 8 hours, still able to clear it. Some people might take 13 to 14 hours and then clear it. But I think it is a very, the strategy is very unique for everyone. You shouldn't follow what I did. You should follow what suits you more.
Right, ma'am. Indeed. Most certainly. And ma'am, now that we have landed into the latter of this very wonderful and inspirational session with you, conversation with you, ma'am, I just ask one very simple question. How often do you come to India?
Since I think I have been here since past, like last year August, it's been more than 1 year. I came to India once in January for 10 days, and probably I'll come somewhere around the end of year. So on an average, we are able to come like once a year.
Okay, once a year. Okay, wonderful. And ma'am, now this is my personal question. That is there any particular subject that a UPSC aspirant ought to focus more upon?
Uh, Particular subject, I would say that uh, your optional subject to a great extent decides your rank in UPSC.
Right.
Coming from, I'll tell you about my experience when I was preparing. Uh, since I did not have any guidance or mentorship, uh,
Right.
from January to June, I only prepared for prelims examination because I thought if I'm not able to clear prelims, then mains I should not be preparing. So after I gave my prelims examination, I had only 4 months for mains examination and I had to do that from scratch. So I personally wanted to take psychology as my optional because I've always wanted to study psychology. But because of the paucity of time or shortage of time, I realized that if I take a completely new subject, I will not be able to clear exam or most of my effort will go to that subject. So I
Indeed.
decided to go with commerce and accountancy as my optional subject because I had already studied that in my graduation and my chartered accountancy course. So I
Right.
realized that I will have to spend lesser hours in commerce and accountancy. And
Right.
even bigger consideration was that there comes a question in examination which I am completely clueless about. Still, if it's commerce and accountancy, I have that much confidence that yeah, I can still attempt it from my past
Yeah.
experience or past learning. But
Yeah.
psychology, I will be completely lost. I will not be able to understand what the question is, let alone answering it. So I think that helped me to get a very good score in exam. I got 300 plus in commerce examination. So
Right.
if there's one subject that you should very carefully choose, that is your uh, optional paper.
Optional subjects.
Considering how much time every day you will have to devote in that paper, because that also decides how much are you devoting for other GS subjects. So that has to be very, and other scoring areas are essay writing because I remember my essay score again was also good, and I had spent very less time in essay writing. So essay is also one very scoring area. GS 1, 2, 3 are not, they are on an average, you will score the same marks as others. Essay optional and ethics paper will decide your overall mains examination score. So these are the areas to be focused.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so very much indeed. And finally, we are concluding this very wonderful interlocution with this very wonderful interlocutor. But nevertheless and nonetheless, ma'am, I'd request you to kindly say a few words for the organization which has worked really very hard, Aashray Army, for making this event possible, and for a small message for all the students of the university and all the students who are watching this particular live session, all the across the country. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank Aashray Academy for, giving me this opportunity to interact with youngsters because I keep on getting a lot of messages that a lot of information about IFS is not available and people are not able to understand whether they should go for this service or not. So thank you for giving me this platform to be able to connect with youngsters, and I hope that some queries have been resolved by
Indeed.
this. So, and it is an honor for me to be able to interact with you and your team. So thank you so much for that. And
Please.
regarding the message to youngsters, see, I I would just want to say one thing regarding, you all know me through some social media. So whatever you see on my social media is just one part of my life. It's not my
Exactly.
whole life, right? So if I put very happy status or all the glorifying things, that is just a part of it. No one puts their crying photos or emotional things on social media. So you have to know that even when we are in service, when you clear UPSC exam, one challenge ends, but another one starts. And not every day is a very happy day. Some days are really challenging when you curse yourself and when you are just completely disappointed. But one thing that I want to tell you all is just keep going. There would be days when you will be completely hopeless and disappointed. There would be some circumstances in your life when you will feel that something hard has hit you, or you are not able to cope up with the circumstances and scenario. I personally have been through a lot of scenarios where I was just completely hopeless and I felt that it's not happening. And I questioned life itself, like what is the purpose of life and all. You get into those introspection moods and all. But just keep going because everything passes, everything is temporary. If happiness is temporary, then pain is also temporary. You just have to keep a positive attitude towards all of it. And second thing is, what personally I want to say, or what I feel is, regret is the worst emotion that you can feel. So while you have been given an opportunity, or while you still have that opportunity, do work hard, or do try to achieve whatever you want in life, rather than regretting after 5 years, 6 years, that you had that chance at that point of time and you did not work enough, to achieve it. I'll give you an example. When I was working in the private organization, I was working with Bain and Company, and the consultant from Bain and Company, he was at a high position there. When he got to know that I have cleared civil services examination and I will be soon going out of the organization and joining service, he personally told me that even if I am at a very high position, everyone knows Bain and Company. It's like one of the biggest consultancies that we have. So he said, I am at a very high position in my company right now, but I regret not appearing for UPSC or not putting enough effort 10 years back when I could have actually made a difference in my life. And it's not even about UPSC, it's about anything, any field that you want to pursue. Whatever you want to pursue, now is the time, because past has gone, future has not come. So whatever you can do, just do it right now. And see, there will be disappointments, problems, bad circumstances. It's for you to, face them, because after facing that, you will become even more, like, you will come out stronger and you will be proud of yourself at the end of the day.
Right, ma'am. Indeed, ma'am. Very, very motivating. And ladies and gentlemen, just to extend an olive branch once again over here, that remember, happiness is temporary, sadness is temporary, but your defeat and your regret to not to succeed in your life and not to give your best shot in your life is really very permanent. So do not go through that phase and try to give the best possible shot in every or in any field that you want to give your best shot about, right? Do work hard. And thank you so very much, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please do drop your appreciation for Madam Shivani Gupta into the chat box. She is an IFS officer and she has been a wonderful personality to host, very down to earth, very humble, and very, very sweet and very, very motivating at the same time. Thank you so very much, ma'am. And we are really expecting you to come to our university sometime in a while and to inspire our students' life.
Thank you so much for such sweet words, and I'm really expecting myself to come to India sometime soon in the middle of this pandemic.
Hopefully soon, ma'am.
Yeah. And it was great interacting with you. And keep up the good work, keep up the initiative, and it's really great to be able to interact with youngsters through you.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so very much, Aashray. Ladies and gentlemen, please do follow Aashray YouTube channel. You can go and visit this particular video and this particular section over there. And thank you so very much to Aniket for giving me this wonderful and cromulent opportunity to talk to Madam Shivani Gupta. Thank you so very much, ma'am, and a very good evening to you.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Once again, ma'am, if you're watching this particular session, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the entire lovely professional university. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the house, kindly drop us one of these once again and be like, yo, Sahas, our motivation game has gone up just like a Kung Fu Ninja. And we're going to work hard towards our goals, towards our dreams, and whatever we want to achieve in our life. But till then, take care, be safe, and please take care of your family. And remember, knowledge is power, and power is knowledge, right? So good evening, Sahas Ramal officially signing off. And thank you so very much to Aashray.